The United States Supreme Court handed down, in a way, two separate decisions yesterday that both are going to greatly impact Donald Trump's future here in the United States. The first one, of course, the most publicized one, was that Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts temporarily blocked Donald Trump's tax returns from making it to the House Ways and Means Committee. Now, Donald Trump on Monday had filed an emergency filing with the United States Supreme Court because his tax returns were supposed to make it to that committee tomorrow, on Thursday. And he didn't want that to happen. He had lost all of his court battles up to this point. The only place he had left to go was the U.S. Supreme Court. He puts in his emergency filing, and John Roberts himself says, all right, we will temporarily put a pause on this. You do not have to turn over any of your tax information to this House committee yet. And that's the important part people have to understand. This was not John Roberts necessarily saving Donald Trump. It is in a way, but Roberts did have a legitimate reason, and I will give him a little credit for that. He said, listen, for right now, I'm going to say they don't have to turn it over because you have filed an emergency filing with us. We have to look through it. And if they turn over your taxes before we've even gone through it, then there's no point in us even going through it. So temporarily, they can't have them. We're going to go through it. We're going to look at your legal arguments, and then we will decide whether or not we're even going to make a decision on it. So Roberts still left the door wide open for the Supreme Court to say, we're not taking this up. We've looked at the lower court's decision. There's nothing wrong with those decisions. Your legal arguments don't stand up. The prosecution or the other folks, they do stand up. We're not going to hear it. Lower court decision stands. Now, that's what I had originally thought was going to happen no matter what. So technically, as of right now, I'm kind of wrong. I'm half wrong with my prediction, but it still could come true. Or Roberts could come back and say, nope, we're going to actually take up this case and hear arguments on it. The second case, the Supreme Court issued a non-ruling on yesterday. This one has an even bigger impact on Donald Trump, is that the United States Supreme Court said to Lindsey Graham, no, we will not block you from having to go sit in front of that Georgia special grand jury and comply with that subpoena. So Lindsey Graham, who has been fighting that subpoena from the Fulton County prosecutor for months now, his legal fight is, of course, officially over. There is nowhere else he can go. There is nowhere he can appeal this to. He has to go and testify. And that is a huge blow to Lindsey Graham. But, that particular case aside, it is a massive victory for justice here in the United States. Lindsey Graham had argued that the speech or debate clause protected him from having to comply with a subpoena because his actions in Georgia, he said, were just part of my research because I had to vote on whether or not to certify the state. Speech or debate, I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do. And even the Supreme Court said, no, you're not. Had they gone the other way with it, that would have set an exceptionally dangerous precedent here in the United States. But by declining to take this up, the precedent of the lower court stands, and the speech or debate clause does not cover idiotic acts like what Lindsey Graham did in Georgia. Lindsey Graham will be testifying. He has to testify basically against Donald Trump. What did Trump tell you to do? Were you working for him? Did he sound like he was trying to pressure the people here? You sounded like you were. But my guess is that they're not going to get much out of Lindsey Graham, unfortunately. Yes, he'll be forced to testify. Yes, it'll be hilarious. But yes, he can also plead the fifth. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot of when Lindsey Graham goes down to Georgia.
This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.